Hey everybody, peace and assalamu alaikum. I'm working on my Android trying to see if the video quality is good once I upload it. Um I'm just sitting here getting ready to do some studying. I was listening to Snoop Dogg because it's Snoop. I always listen to Snoop. See what he got to say. But something that struck me, they asked him, what he learned from the pandemic, like being quarantined and everything. And I keep hearing that question over and over and over again in interviews and just, people on the street make reference to it and stuff. And it's just so crazy to me because even when we were going through it, and this is just from my reality. I'm not knocking anybody or throwing shade and nothing like that. I'm just saying, hearing that question constantly be asked makes me, get a little introspective and, reflect on my reality. And so, who is calling me? Heck no. These daggone telemarketers always calling me. So, to give a little background for people who don't know, I'm a nurse. I work in long-term care, geriatric care. And at the time of the height of coronavirus, I was working on the COVID unit. And so, I was like, so many of my residents were dying, like back to back to back. My co-workers were getting COVID. Some of them were like one or two who already had horrible health. They were like getting really bad off. One of my co-workers, she was in the hospital for quite a while. But again, she was already quite sickly, as so many Americans are. So yeah, all that sort of stuff was going on. So when everybody was quarantining, number one, I was, a frontline worker, they were calling us. And so I was always working, number one. Number two, I never stopped going out because although everything basically shut down, the stores that were necessary for my family and that I frequent anyway, they didn't close down. So I wasn't affected by salons closing because I don't go to a salon. I wasn't affected by, clothing stores and, Bed Bath & Beyond, all these stores closing because I don't shop there anyway. I'm a thrift store type of gal, or, I do a lot of shopping online. So I didn't see any difference in my life. I'm somewhat, more like it, omnivert or amnivert, whatever they call it. I'm extroverted to a degree, but my true self, I'm very introverted, and my family is the same way. So we all sort of stick to ourselves, and we just like being alone. We like being by ourselves. So that wasn't an issue. Like, I didn't see no problem. I never, and again, this is not shady or anything like that, because some people like to make something out of nothing all the time. But coronavirus never scared me. So, and it still doesn't. So I just kept precautions. I always been a hand washer. I always washed off my, cans and stuff like that before I used them. It was no big deal. Yeah, so I was good. And so it's so crazy to me how so many people, and I suspect that because the question keeps coming up and it keeps, media and everything keeps making it such a big thing, that people who maybe it wouldn't have been necessarily a big thing to them, it becomes a big thing because it's like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to be, or, whatever. But it's just so crazy to me when I hear people talk about how they like had mental health issues and how they went through depression. Then you see couples who broke up because they figured, I don't really like you, man. Or, they're with their kids and they figured, I don't really like you, girl or boy. Like, they don't really dig their kids like that. Or, vice versa. The kids don't really dig their parents. And it's just like, I'm sick of being around you. Those things are so crazy to me because I'm just blessed that while my family, we're very, to ourselves. We can easily go in the room and chill like we do. Go in our own rooms and just chill for hours. But by the same token, we're also very close-knit. So that's not an oxymoron. We're also very close-knit. So we can sit and chill with each other and laugh and just watch TV or just be. You know what I mean? So I didn't have a problem like being around my children, and they didn't seem to have a problem being around me. So we didn't have those issues. And I've just always been, very introspective about my loved ones. So even to see and hear people say like, well, yeah, like I learned that life is short, and I learned that you got to take advantage of your people out of here. I'm like, y'all needed a quarantine to teach you this? That's so weird. It's just weird to me. And for the third time, I'm not throwing shade at anyone. I'm just reflecting on my own reality. And yeah, it's just deep to me that, but now I'll say I'm not surprised either, because it's been my opinion for a very long time, decades or what have you, since I was a young person, that Americans are very individualistic, and we really like go for self type people. So of course, when you're in a situation, and we're very I'm saying we, like generally speaking, we thrive off what other people think of us. Hence this whole social media thing that goes on now, where you gotta have likes, so people like start tripping and somebody don't like them on the computer. I'm like, well, one of my children used to go through that when she was young, and I'll be like, you do know these people are not real, right? They're like virtual. They have zero to do with your life. This is when she was young. I'm saying like old folks. So, as Americans, I think we are very weak, emotionally weak people. Again, generally speaking, emotionally weak people. We're very, we put too much significance, in my opinion, on outward things rather than inward things or inner things. So I totally can see how people like tripping, and it's very much part of our culture that we're not very, see, another thing, my children, I have 4 children, 16 to 29, and so 3 of them are in their 20s. But I homeschooled them all. When we had restaurants and stuff. They were always there at the store. We're a group. And even though, like my boys have moved out the house and all this kind of thing, which is very close knit like that. So, but it's traditional in America and elsewhere, of course, that we don't have those family ties very much, because we start sending our children out. Again, not in a disrespectful way, it's just what it is. We send our children out to, the babysitter, daycare, preschool, kindergarten, 1 through 8, 9 through 12, college. Then they move out the house. So it's not a constant thing. We're not always around each other. And then usually, the parents are out working and stuff like that for at least 8-hour shifts. So when you put in commuting and all that stuff, 9-10 hours a day, you get home, your wake hours are only not that many hours before you go to sleep. You wake up and you're doing it all again. So of course you're not around each other very often. So when things shut down and you're forced to be with each other, a lot of people just was like, what? Like, get out my face, go over there. I'm sick of this. When the hell are they going to get these schools open? When the hell am I going to be able to go back to work? They considered liquor stores an central business during that time, if you recall, because people were just having a hard time. And it's like, I need something to get through these days and these families. And so, I think I can understand too how people do say that time made them reflect, because again, it's not something that we're traditionally familiar with anymore in this country. And so I guess it makes sense that a lot of people would be like, yo, it made me like realize I love these fools. And now I want to lose them. You know what I mean? So it's so crazy. And I keep saying it's so crazy because it reminds me of what we as a people have gotten so far away from, which is just natural. It's a natural state of being. We are not anywhere near our natural state of being, again, in my opinion. And so, something like this that took place, it just totally threw people through a loop. I don't know, y'all. That's just really sad to me. And what's even sadder is that I think while those realities or those thoughts or realizations that people had, they're gone. Like, we may speak, or they may speak it like, yeah, this is what I learned, but we've gone straight back to what it was that we were doing in the first place, because that's what we know. And also, we are dying to get back to it even more. So that's the other thing I keep hearing people talk about. Yeah, like before COVID was horrid. So far as, again, a natural state of being. One of the main reasons that COVID knocked everybody down was because we've gotten so far away from our natural state of being. People are sickly. COVID itself is not what killed the people. It's just not. And I mean, again, there's several organizations, governmental organizations that I've seen, and world organizations, as well as like universities, what do you call, like the scientific department or whatever, the medical departments, they've said that it was not actually COVID. COVID itself is not what really did the damage. What did the damage is that these people are already super sickly. That's what did it. And so, it's just like, that's what we want to get back to. We want to keep on eating foul. We want to keep, if they're going to mandate something, they need to mandate healthier eating and healthier living. But of course, that will go strictly against the status quo and what, is going to be beneficial to the economy. That's what this is all about, the economy, in my opinion. Just listening to, what the president and them have to say. But I digress. Again, I just find it all so very interesting. I like to study people, and yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get back to what it was. I want it to be better, but Who give a damn what I want, right? So anyway, I'm gonna take out my notes and act like I'm trying to pass this class with an A. My goal is to graduate valedictorian, valedictorian, and I mean to do it. So I'm gonna stop this video and get to studying. Peace.